Blockchain, crypto gang. We're going to get into some of this crypt talk. First of all, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever, if you're into that. This year has went by really, really quick. I can't believe that we're almost into 2024 already. You know, the crypto market is starting to pump. A lot of exciting things going on in the crypto market. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into the Bitcoin ETF, some of the things that Michael Saylor has to say about that, and some of my thoughts on that, Bitcoin ETFs and what that's going to really do for the crypto market. We're going to get into what the Coinbase CEO has to say about crypto being the future of money. I'm going to get into a few different projects that I think are worth looking into, if nothing else, just to show you like what is going on in this crypto, blockchain development, as far as like really disrupting real things that are going on, real integration into things that are significant and that I think are exciting, that just gives you an idea of the potential of this decentralized blockchain technology. So let's go ahead and get started. But actually, you know what? I want to start off by saying this. I just got off the phone recently with one of these callers who called my phone claiming to be Coinbase. They claim that they represented Coinbase and that someone tried to access my account, blah, blah, blah. So I just played along with it. I wanted to just see what the angle is. What angle are they really coming with this particular scam? All right. And I knew it was a scam straight up because, first of all, Coinbase doesn't call you. And then he called me by a name that is not the name that's associated with my Coinbase account. And then his end game was to get me to log into some remote blah, blah, to where it would allow him to see my computer and take control of my computer. And then he would have wanted me to probably log into Coinbase, and then he probably would have shut my access down remotely, been able to, finagle. Now, it's not that I keep a lot on Coinbase. I really don't. I only keep enough for some of the Ethereum tokens that I don't really want to move to a different wallet because it'll be too expensive. And or if I just want to keep a little something there that I want to, trade for easily for some of the coins that I might want to get into for pumps or whatever reason. But the point is, you have to be wary of these scammers, man. And it doesn't just end in the crypto. Let's go ahead and start this off with a story. And I reported a few of these types of stories in the past, even with on my last channel, Crypt Talk Podcast. And these banks are starting to really implode. The shenanigans involved with these banks, it's really just starting to become undeniable. So if you wonder why some of these new millennials and the younger generation, and why people are starting to see just how much more efficient and secure crypto is, Bitcoin specifically, but cryptocurrencies, if you're holding it with your own self custody type of situation, like these banks aren't really any more secure than some of these scam crypto projects. Look at this. So someone's account from Wells Fargo, a Wells Fargo customer, was robbed after thieves stole her identity, revealing how easy it is to lose the money. Make sure I'm still good here. Am I good? I am still good. Okay. So look at this. Danielle Hahn is a Wells Fargo customer who had trouble getting her money back after she was robbed. Let's see if we could just see a video. So she revealed that it was complicated and uncomfortable process to finally get her money back. Hahn's wallet was stolen and the thieves impersonating her identity and robbing her of $4,000. She froze her account and later learned that she lost $2,000. While the issue is now resolved, identity theft is surprisingly easy, according to experts. Now, keep in mind, this is, that was more of a legitimate. You can't really blame Wells Fargo, even though they let the robbers access another $2,000. But there's other things going on in the banking. Like I've showed you before on my last channel how these banks are starting to close their branches in lieu of digital means of doing banking, which is cheaper for them, right? I've shown you how the 3 biggest bank collapse in history all happened this year. I've shown you how banks have been denying access or closing accounts because people like this one lady who tried to cash a check for her, what was it, student, the student loan forgiveness, and they locked her account because they didn't think it was legit. And then her account was locked, and now she's at the verge of being evicted because she can't access her money to pay rent and bills and blah, 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 blah. Well, here's the latest. All right. U.S. Bank to pay $36 million for illegal pandemic conduct. So remember, during the pandemic, these banks were getting all this money. And apparently, U.S. Bank will pay $36 million over allegations the company illegally blocked out of work customers from accessing unemployment benefits during the pandemic. Look at this. This is like what the banks are doing. This is the mercy that you leave your money with at the bank. So I don't say this to say, get rid of all the banks. It's all about crypto. I say this to say that understand that there are alternative means to dealing with finance. And that is the exact reason why Bitcoin was created in the first place, to be alternative means of, the average blue collar worker who got screwed by Wall Street and the banks 2008 with that, big implosion of the financial system. For those who remember, Bitcoin was developed because of that. Bitcoin was created because of that, to give leverage. Like really, Bitcoin wasn't created for ETFs. If we're going to be honest, we're going to get to the ETFs in a minute and what that's going to mean for the market. But for those who know and uphold the real principles of what this blockchain technology, what Bitcoin and these cryptocurrencies were initially designed to be, it was designed to be a way that we, the common man and woman, can still participate in the finances without an intermediary, without having to rely on banks, without a single point of failure, without permission, in a decentralized manner. And then the DeFi and everything that grew from that was really to give leverage with technology for the common man. That's what Bitcoin was meant to be for. So of course, after years of ignoring it, mocking it, fighting it, now they're embracing it because they know they have no choice. When I say they, I mean like these large financial institutions, these large corporations, and even nation states. So U.S. Bank will pay over $36 million, blah, blah, blah. On the onset of the COVID-19 pandemics, U.S. Bank had contracts with at least 19 states and the District of Columbia to deliver unemployment benefits to millions of newly out of work Americans through its prepaid card. But due to expanded anti-fraud controls, the nation's 5th lender froze tens of thousands of prepaid card accounts without leaving users a way to regain access. So I'm just saying, look, some of these things is why you want to learn how to deal with these decentralized financial protocols, decentralized wallets and exchanges and whatnot, because you want to be able to have full access. Just think of like what a bank is. A bank is us giving our money to an entity. Like if you really read the fine print, when you put your money in the bank, it's not your money anymore. What they do with that money is they lend it out for high percentages and they also invest it. They don't keep really all the money. Banks do not have more than 10% of your money in that bank collectively. They're investing the rest. They're loaning the rest for high percentages. And then they're giving you a quarter to maybe 0.5% for money that they're making 10 and 100 times fold with your money. And then if everyone wants to get their money at the same time, the bank collapses because they don't really have it. Okay. So this is why Bitcoin is the future money. This is why we really have to understand what this Bitcoin, craze is about. For many of us, it's not just about the speculative aspect of how much money you can make, even though at a time like this, yes, we are expecting, because of the halving and because of demand increasing, that Bitcoin is definitely going to go up in price and it's going to carry the rest of the market with it. But I just wanted to give you just a little bit of that. Now let's get to some of what's going on with Bitcoin in Argentina. Minister of Foreign Affairs affirms Bitcoin acceptable for contract agreements. Essentially what they're doing is almost making Bitcoin legal tender. They are, because it's good for contract agreements. That means it's legal tender. This is Argentina. Now, remember, El Salvador just made, a couple years ago, they made Bitcoin legal tender in their country. Venezuela is looking at Bitcoin and other crypto options. This is something that I said back on Crypt Talk podcast would happen, especially in South America, Central America, parts of Africa, Europe, and Asia. Because if your native currency is inflationary by 40 and 50%, well, holding Bitcoin isn't really a gamble. Think about that. If you're in a country that's under sanction, that you can't access the Swiss messaging system in order to do international business, well, Bitcoin is a solution because now you can just go straight from peer to peer. This is why Ukraine and Russia both use Bitcoin to fund their conflict, because Russia was under sanctions and Ukraine had their financial institutions sabotaged by Russia. So they both use a peer-to-peer way to get, funds and support in that conflict. So basically, a lot of these countries are now starting to see the same utility that we see. They can use Bitcoin, make Bitcoin legal tender. They have different commodities and exports. They could just say, hey, send me some Bitcoin. We'll send you blah, blah, blah. You don't have to go through the Swiss messaging system. You don't have to go through all that, rigmarole. It's just straight direct peer-to-peer. So this is what's going on in Argentina. Foreign Minister's Affairs says we ratify and confirm that in Argentina contracts can be agreed in Bitcoin and also other crypto and or species such as kilos, astera, liters of milk, blah, 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 blah. He said something about the central bank. He called the central banks a scam. There he goes. Remember, this is the president. The new president of Argentina says the central bank is a scam, a mechanism by which politicians cheat the good people with inflationary tax. Then saying Bitcoin represents the return of money to its original creator and private sector, and that it prevents politicians from robbing you through inflation. This is where we're at right now. So when people speak listen, I'm not one of those moon boy, Bitcoin's going to 1 million and all that. I'm not one of those. I think that's irresponsible. However, history dictates, we do have the halving coming up in April. That means the Bitcoin that's being produced is going to be cut in half. So the production of Bitcoin gets cut in half come April. So even if the demand remains the same, common sense would dictate that Bitcoin's price increases. And history would dictate that Bitcoin price probably at least doubles, right? But it's not just Bitcoin being cut in half. It's actually the demand is soaring for Bitcoin. The development, we have different countries now adopting Bitcoin in different ways. You have companies. You have 12 different companies applying for Bitcoin ETFs. Let's get to that. SEC holds crucial meeting with spot Bitcoin ETF applicants to assure alignment. Now, listen, we've had a lot of news about Bitcoin ETFs in the past that never got passed. People really do think it's different this time. The indications imply it's different. We are post the SEC losing to Ripple in that securities lawsuit. So a lot of people are. There's actually Bitcoin ETF commercials already. So I'm thinking, if you applied for a Bitcoin ETF and now you're making a commercial saying that you have Bitcoin ETFs, I'm thinking that means that you're pretty confident that these ETFs are going to be approved coming in January. In significant development, the Securities and Exchange Commission convened with applicants seeking approval for spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds today, according to Eleanor Terrett and Charles Gasparino of Fox Business. This just in, SEC met with spot Bitcoin ETF applicants to make sure everyone is doing cash crates. So it sounds like the SEC is saying, hey, this, that, you have this enrolled. Okay, well, this is just from yesterday. Sources who attended the meeting said the SEC was making sure everyone is doing cash crates and asked issuers to remove all hints of in-kind redemptions from their filings. This meeting assumes paramount importance amid the ongoing discussions and evaluations regarding the approval of such ETFs. What would it mean to have an ETF? Well, for one, it would mean, now look, me personally, I wouldn't buy a Bitcoin ETF. I would rather just have the Bitcoin myself. But for those who aren't as tech savvy, or those who are more confident in the traditional finance markets, well, now Bitcoin is going to be introduced to the traditional financial market. It's going to be able to be traded pretty much like a stock exchange, like a stock. It's going to be traded in a way that, the actual holders of these ETFs, they don't have to know the techiness of crypto wallets. They don't have to know none of that. All they have to do is put amount aside, like, this is for Bitcoin. Give that to the issuer of the ETF. The ETF's going to say, well, Bitcoin is worth this much right now. So then, if it goes up 10% there, you can sell it, blah, blah, blah. But of course, they're not going to do it for free, these issuers. But just the implications of a BlackRock, a Grayscale, a Fidelity getting approved for a Bitcoin ETF, that means that, like I have a Fidelity account. That means that you're going to see communication from your 401ks telling you, hey, you could put this in Bitcoin now. You could do this and that. So that means also, if you really think about it, all the FUD that we're hearing about Bitcoin is going to go away. You're not going to hear FUD about Bitcoin when now financial institutions are holding Bitcoin in order to sell to customers like us. All of a sudden, all the mainstream FUD about Bitcoin, you're not going to hear it. What you're going to hear is Fidelity now, Bitcoin, get Bitcoin through Fidelity with the blah, blah, blah. JP Morgan, saying it's going to go from the investing apparatuses to the commercial banks, all trying to sell us Bitcoin. Not real Bitcoin, but derivatives of Bitcoin. So that's when you're going to see on the mainstream, because now all of a sudden it's going to be acceptable. This is in part why, if you look at my, Twitter page, and this has been since November 2019, my byline has been Crypto Talk Podcast, a new source for cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And check out this last sentence. We cover news you won't see on the mainstream media yet. I've always, I've never changed that in 4 years. And the reason I said yet was because I understood that when these large financial institutions, these central banks, these governments, these large corporations, once they have not just Bitcoin, but crypto products and services to offer, then you'll see it on the mainstream. So if and when a Bitcoin ETF gets approved, you're going to see Bitcoin on the mainstream like it's going out of style. Now it's going to be okay. Now all the people who said it was too risky, I'm talking about the retailers, your friends, you who may be listening. You've been seeing what's going on with this market for the last few years, but it's just too risky. It's too this, it's too that. It's going to be okay once JP Morgan Chase says, hey, we have a Bitcoin fund you can get into. Once Wells Fargo says, hey, we have a Bitcoin derivatives, you can, hold Bitcoin through us. You know what I'm saying? When Fidelity and BlackRock and Grayscale and your favorite investment vehicles are telling you that Bitcoin is the future, and they are going to tell you that because, remember, they're holding Bitcoin now, so they want it to go up. Anyway, here's Michael Saylor speaking on Bitcoin ETFs. Go ahead and let's listen to this.
To MicroStrategy specifically, as I said, obviously a big holder of Bitcoin. Given what you just told me about how a spot ETF is going to make it perhaps easier, more appetizing for retail investors, institutionals to get crypto exposure via that product, why would someone still need to be a buyer of MicroStrategy? Is this actually something that is going to end up working against you?
The ETFs are unlevered and they charge a fee. MicroStrategy is an operating company, so we're fairly unique because we can generate additional Bitcoin via our operations, either via P&L operations or capital markets operations. And we can take advantage of intelligent leverage. Like we can borrow money at 0% interest for many, many years. And we did that with the convert. And then we can use it to buy Bitcoin. So you can really think of the ETFs as like shipping lines, very efficient, long haul, carry a lot of capital. MicroStrategy is more like an airline. We don't have the cargo capacity in our capital structure that a container ship has, but we can go faster and we have higher performance. So we provide you leverage and we don't charge a fee. And so if you can dig into our capital structure, you get comfortable with that, we offer sort of a high performance vehicle for people that are Bitcoin long investors.
If and when that happens, how much further anticipation and frankly, a lot built in, I think, to the price of Bitcoin of this idea that spot ETFs are finally going to come. What's the next catalyst for Bitcoin if and when that happens? How much further can it be pushed upward?
Well, I think you can't really underestimate the significance of the spot ETFs. It's not unreasonable to suggest that this may be the biggest development on Wall Street in 30 years. I mean, the last thing that was this consequential was the creation of the S&P index and the ability to invest in all 500 S&P companies via one trade at the same time. So this is very eagerly anticipated, but most of the money in the Bitcoin market right now is the hodlers and the traditional crypto investors. Mainstream investors, mainstream retail, mainstream institutions have not had a high bandwidth compliant channel to invest in this asset class until these spot ETFs. So I think in January, the approval of the spot ETFs is going to be a major catalyst. It's going to definitely drive a demand shock. And then that will be followed in April with a supply shock because there are about 900 Bitcoin a day available for sale by natural sellers, the miners. And that number is going to be cut to 450 Bitcoin a day in April. So it's a pretty big deal.
And that puts Bitcoin where a year from now?
Okay, so she's trying to get him to peg a price that Bitcoin will be in a year. He doesn't fall for it. But, you could just hear what the principle and implications of a Bitcoin ETF is, right? Onboarding even more so by large financial institutions that will scoop it up by the billions, by the hundreds of billions. I mean, his company scoops it up by the hundreds of millions and the billions. Now imagine BlackRock, the largest asset management company in the world. They've applied for a Bitcoin ETF. You can bet once they get approved, they will be buying even more because they're going to be the indirect seller to you via other investment vehicles. So you're going to see Bitcoin. So this is like when people speak of these Bitcoin numbers, I'll give you a number. I think Bitcoin goes to 115, 140 easy. I mean, it goes to 140 just based on history of the last halving. It 3.5x last halving. That was during a global pandemic and during a lawsuit with implications to the rest of the crypto market. I'm talking about the SEC versus Ripple. It still did a 3.5x of the last all-time high from 20,000 to 70,000. So I'm thinking this one at least doubles because we don't just have a situation where we're not in a pandemic. We have Bitcoin ETFs that will likely be approved in January by a dozen companies. Then you're going to see XRP ETFs and Ethereum ETFs. You're going to just see the crypto market, in my opinion, go bananas. And how Bitcoin goes, the rest of the market will go. You're going to have access to Bitcoin. It's going to be more adoptable. It's going to be more promoted on the mainstream than we've ever seen before. Of course, I'm not a fan of ETFs personally. But for an old dinosaur that's really, married to the traditional market, that's going to be his exposure into Bitcoin in an easy way, or her exposure. Okay. Now let's get into this story real quick. I'm going to get into a couple projects that I want to show you guys, not for the purpose of trying to shill you into buying them or getting into them, but just to show you the diversity of this crypto blockchain technology and the different things that it's really disrupting. But anyway, here's a quick little clip I'm going to show you from Coinbase CEO reacting to JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon suggesting a crypto ban. Check this out.
Bitcoin was trending all day long on Yahoo Finance as optimism grows over lower rates and the eventual approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Yahoo Finance executive editor Brian Sozzi sat down with Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong and first asked him about his outlook for crypto in 2024.
Well, we really believe that crypto is the future of money, and that's already here. So it's not just a speculative asset class. People are now using it for all kinds of different types of utility. And we always believed that the industry would evolve in this kind of three pillars. You know, we felt like it would start as an asset class. People would trade speculatively. Then it would become a new type of financial services with people doing stablecoin payments and commerce, remittance payments, earning yield on their assets, getting borrowing and lending with DeFi. And now, you know, we're even starting to see this third pillar come online, which is crypto as a new type of application platform. This is what people are calling Web3. It's a new way for people to build applications in a totally decentralized way with decentralized identity, decentralized social networks, decentralized scientific research. And it's kind of the future of the internet. So it's much bigger than people, I think, realize, who are still thinking about it just as one asset class. And that's something that's exciting.
Since we last talked, I think it was the Goldman Sachs Tech Conference a couple months ago.
Okay, so that really delved into like why it's the future of money and the WebX development or Web3 developments, which I'm going to get into with some of these projects I'm going to show you in a minute. But I just wanted to just show you, like, if you know about JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon, they've always shitted on Bitcoin, even though they're investors. And I'm going to show you that even though they actually have their own digital currency and have for years for institutional users, meaning those who have a lot of money. And now they're also, JP Morgan Chase have created a depositors token to make exchange between accounts that much more seamless. But at the same time, they shit on Bitcoin. There's a country mile between JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, and Coinbase co-founder. Perhaps there shouldn't be such a shock given their employment. Dimon famously told lawmakers earlier this month that he would put an end to the crypto if he had the power to do so. I've always been deeply opposed to crypto, Bitcoin, etc., Dimon said in response to a question from Senator Elizabeth Warren during a Senate hearing. Dimon was referencing the alleged use of crypto by terrorists, drug traffickers, and rogue nations. Added Dimon, if I was the government, I'd close it down. Why have these standard financial institutions always spoken against crypto, especially from the banking industry? I'm going to tell you why. It's easy. It's because it's a conflict of interest. Look, banks will give you 0.25%, 0.5% for holding your money, when they will make money doing things that now with DeFi you could do on your own. You can stake your money even in the stable coin that doesn't fluctuate if you're afraid of the fluctuation of the market, and you can still earn 8%. You can stake it in other coins and earn 22%. You can lend and you can borrow with collateral debt positions in DeFi protocols. You can essentially do what banks do to create money. This is why the SEC went so hard against like the Coinbases and the Krakens and the Binances. They didn't like the staking. They didn't like the DeFi. They didn't like the fact that you can indeed just hold your money the same way you do in your savings account, except for instead of getting 0.25% or 0.5%, you can get 8%. Because if everyone gets hip to that too soon before they have their own products and services, well, then banks are going to see people start fleeing from them and holding their money on their own in ways that will actually leverage and hedge against inflation, unlike savings accounts. But at the same time, they're saying things like this. Check this out. I shared this to my Facebook group called Blockchain Crypto Gang earlier today. Check this out.
This is how the rich get richer.
Yes.
This is not illegal to do.
No, manipulating the news cycle, if you're smart about it, is they can get away with it. Nobody's ever been arrested for anything like this. On September 12th, Jamie Dimon says Bitcoin is a fraud. He says he'll fire any one of his traders buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin drops 24%. When Jamie Dimon speaks, people listen. So that weekend, we found out that the largest buyer of a Bitcoin fund that's in Europe that buys physical Bitcoin, right? The largest buyer was Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan. And that's not illegal. He says it's a fraud. He says he'll fire anyone that buys it. Yes.
And at the same time, his company is buying it.
His company is buying it.
It's just, I mean, so unethical.
Right.
So for years, these financial institutions, these traditional financial institutions have been shitting on Bitcoin, but at the same time, they're buying it up. Why are they buying it up and shitting on it at the same time? Because by shitting on it, it keeps the price down. It keeps people thinking about FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt. And then they buy it up with intentions. And I've said this years ago, before the thoughts of an ETF on Crypto Talk Podcast. As the retailers, they hope to shake the retail market out of Bitcoin. They scoop it up, and then they're going to offer it in derivatives at a higher price. And that's exactly what we see going on with these ETFs. This is why understanding this allows you to position yourself based on the information. So yes, they're saying, they're just gonna, spit a bunch of FUD about Bitcoin as they scoop it up on the low and then turn around and sell it to you as derivatives. This is what's going on. So when people say, Bitcoin is dead and it's just a bubble, it's like, okay, why are the largest financial institutions in the world scooping up Bitcoin faster than it's actually being produced? Right now, Bitcoin is produced at 900 Bitcoin per day. In April, that goes to 450. 4 years from now, it goes to 2.25. So Bitcoin is becoming more and more scarce over the years, but the demand is growing. This is why people say $1 million Bitcoin coming. It's very possible. I wouldn't hold my breath. It definitely is not going to happen this cycle. Like, just to be conservative, Bitcoin to me looks like 150. I would say 140 to 115 to 140, 150-ish should be a easy target. Many people say it will go much higher than that. I'm saying even that would be very significant, but just to be conservative, it's still going to drive the rest of the market up. All right, so let's look at the crypto market as we speak. Right now, Bitcoin is about almost 44,000, right? 800 billion in the market cap. Ethereum at 2,300, 278 billion in the market cap. Both of those are up on the 7 days by 3% plus. Binance up 10%. Look at this. This hurts. Solana, $96, up 24% in the last 7 days. And that sucks because, I did get some Solana at about 70, and then I was thinking I should get some more, but instead I got some other things, and Solana is starting to do exactly what I thought Solana would do, which is fine. XRP, I believe XRP is going to shoot. I mean, XRP is going to be a couple $100 billion market cap by the end of this bull run, I believe. Very, very likely. Cardano, I think, is going to do some good things. There's some Cardano tokens that I actually hold that are doing very well. We're not going to get into that. Dogecoin, blah, Polkadot. Tron is garbage. Chainlink. But here's the thing. When it comes to this bull run, as all bull cycles before it, you pretty much can't go wrong unless you get into some multi-level marketing Ponzi scheme coin, which I will go into a little bit later today, talking about the G999 and the Gold Standard Bank platform. Garbage. But pretty much any coin is going to be able to make money during this bull cycle. It's just all about when you drop it, if you drop it in time, because some of these coins that are going to skyrocket are going to be pulls. They're going to be rug pulls. And if you don't get off them in time, or even some of the legitimate projects, you still have to get off of them in time. So yes, the market's going to go parabolic. It's going to go bananas. But, if you plan on making a play on the market, you're going to have to get rid of it, know when and how to take profits. But let's get into a few of these projects that I wanted to show you guys that are on my watch list as we closed it up. Let me see here. Watch list. How do we get to the watch list? Let's go to the watch list. Bam. I want to show you a couple different projects. Let's start with Stacks. Now, Stacks is a Bitcoin second layer. Right now, it's at about 2 billion in the market cap. Why I like Stacks is for a few reasons. Number one, it's a layer 2 Bitcoin solution, meaning, well, you know what? Let's let it tell you what it is. Stacks community, blah, blah, blah. Stacks. Let me see. Okay, about. Let's go to about. Let's say, so what is Stacks? STX. Stacks is a Bitcoin layer for smart contracts. It enables smart contracts and decentralized applications to use Bitcoin as an asset and settle transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain. Bitcoin is the largest blah, blah. Stacks has knowledge of the full Bitcoin state thanks to its proof of transfer consensus and clarity language, enabling it to read from Bitcoin at any time. All transactions on the Stack layer are automatically hashed and settled on the Bitcoin layer 1. Stacks blocks are secured by 100% Bitcoin hash power. In order to reorder Stacks blocks transactions, an attacker would have to reorganize Bitcoin. So Stacks is by default as secure as Bitcoin. Stacks allows the smart contracts and DeFi for Bitcoin, and it also allows NFTs, which are called ordinals. So, you know, those. So if Bitcoin is going to go crazy, I think Stacks is going to go with it because people are going to want some of those ordinal NFTs that are Bitcoin NFTs. They're going to want to deal with DeFi because right now you can't really do DeFi with Bitcoin unless you get a wrapped Bitcoin. So like if you're dealing with the Ethereum decentralized DeFi protocol, you have to wrap the Bitcoin in Ethereum, et cetera, et cetera. This allows it, you know, you to be able to interact with Bitcoin in the DeFi realm. It also allows NFTs, and you can also stake your stacks using the Xverse wallet and get compensated 9% in Bitcoin. So for however much stack you hold, you get paid back in Bitcoin for staking it. To me, that's pretty awesome. And, you know, at 2 billion market cap, I think that Stacks could be 100 million or 100 billion market cap by the end of this bull run. I personally think that, but even at 30 or 40 billion right now would be a pretty significant flip. I think Stacks is something that's really going to work. It's going to work out well during this bull cycle. Not only that, Stacks also created the coins for Miami and the city of New York. As you know, the mayor of Miami and New York both get paid in Bitcoin. I've announced that before. No, they've announced it. I've covered that before. So yeah, they actually produce the coins for those cities. They have a city coin initiative, which they, you know, produce city coins, New York and Miami being two of them. So I think Stacks personally, yeah, I think a 30 billion is easy work. That'll be a 15x. But really, I can see Stacks being so affiliated with Bitcoin as a layer 2. I can see Stacks getting to possibly 100 billion during this bull run. That's just me, you know, no guarantees, right? So let's see what else we got on the watch list. All right, so let's go to Helium real quick. So Helium sitting at $7 right now. Helium is now on the Solana blockchain. It's at 1.1 billion market cap. About Helium, what is Helium? HNT. Helium is a decentralized blockchain-powered network for Internet of Things devices. Launched in 2019, the Helium mainnet allows low-powered wireless devices to communicate with each other and send data across its network of nodes. Nodes come in the form of so-called hotspots, which are in combination of wireless gateway and blockchain mining device. Make it very simple. And I remember when I almost got into Helium years ago, they have they have a mining device that offers hotspot access for the internet. And if you have one of these devices, then you help secure the network and you help signal boost Wi-Fi connection, and you get compensated with Helium. It's basically how you mine for new Helium. You make yourself available to be a Wi-Fi router or hotspot, right? Now, when I tried to do that, they weren't available. This was years ago before they ported themselves on Solana, where they're at now, and it wasn't available where I'm at. Another thing that the Helium network does, I'm going to let them tell it. It's pretty dope. Right. So anyway, they're a mobile company. They're a mobile carrier. $20 a month, unlimited data, text, and call. So they're a mobile carrier. And as you know, Solana also is coming out with their own phone called the Saga, which looks pretty dope. So I'm wondering if that will be ran on the Helium network. I don't see why it wouldn't, unless you have a jailbroken one that you could just run on whatever carrier you use right now. But so the point is, Helium is doing things other than just being a speculative asset, right? They're doing Wi-Fi, they're doing phone coverage. It's just a different way for decentralized utility in real life use cases that we use every day. This is the power of this crypto and this blockchain, right? So now you can have a phone that runs on a cryptocurrency company's mobile carrier, and you could even be compensated for being a signal booster via Wi-Fi. Yeah, I'm thinking from 1 billion to 20 billion is realistic. I'm thinking that's a utility. That's something that if it catches on, if they're good on their mobile end, I think that it's going to really translate into a larger market cap, especially during this bull cycle. Like the idea that you can now buy a phone that runs on Helium Mobile for $20 a month, which is cheaper than I'm paying right now. So yeah, I'm looking into getting with this as a service provider, and by providing the service of Wi-Fi boosting. So yeah, it's just some of the things that we're seeing that are real life utilities with this blockchain crypto gang. One more before we end it. One more project that I'm not that versed in this project, to be honest with you. I was playing poker on this site that I play that allows you to use crypto as a way to cash out and how to buy in, which I did. Got some Cardano. But one of the guys seen my name. Okay, here we go. Share this. One of the guys seen my name being Crypt Talk. They, asked me if I knew about a couple of these different, cryptos, and joystream was one of them. I looked into it. joystream is sitting at only 40 million in the market cap, which is low. Like I said before, if you want to make some of these plays, first of all, you have to know how to deal with crypto on the most basic fundamental form. If you don't know that, learn that first before you start trying to make power moves and trades and things like that. Learn what Bitcoin is, and by default, you'll learn more about finances. You'll learn how to assess these other projects, and you'll know more about DeFi and what blockchain is. Once you do that, then you could play with some of these small market cap coins, like those that are under 100 million, the ones that really could flip. Because think about it, 36 million to 36 billion would be 1,000x. I'm not saying it could do that. I'm just saying that that's just how the math works. All right. But the joystream community and what they do, let's get to it. Matter of fact, let's let joystream tell you what they do.
It's very difficult to build new video platforms like YouTube or TikTok. A handful of corporations hoard all the content and data, forcing everyone to use their apps. What if we could change it? Meet joystream, a protocol for video platform applications. All profiles, videos, and social interactions live on a dedicated high-throughput blockchain. A user-controlled DAO funds creators and builders and operates the content infrastructure. Developers can build new applications on an open network effect with APIs they can trust forever. This empowers them to experiment with new algorithms and policies that can delight creators in new ways. Creators can build their business on a solid foundation. They can issue a revenue-sharing creator token to fund their projects. They can also sell video NFTs to capture more value from their greatest fans. joystream. The change is here. Join us today.
So joystream has their own video platform mechanism. That's pretty huge. And I've looked through this. I've looked at it. Yes, you can create your own. You can create your own video application, or you could just port it into one that's already existing, and you can get paid for making videos. It seems pretty dope. You could also even just port your YouTube channel over And then people can also, you can make some of them NFTs, blah, blah, blah. You can create your own coin for your own community. You could do a lot of different things, with joystream. It seems pretty dope. It looks kind of like YouTube a lot. They kind of pretty much probably just took the YouTube source code and then customized it. But these are some of the things you could do. Now, I used to actually be part of a community that was on the Brave. Speaking of Brave, another thing that this blockchain decentralized technology does, I am going live right now from the Brave browser, which Brave token is an Ethereum token, the creator of Brave browser, also the creator of Mozilla, or is it Firefox? One of the two. Also the creator of the code for the Dragon rocket by Xspace. Yes, created a browser that has an integrated wallet, has an integrated streaming service. It's a lot faster. It's a lot more secure. It pays you to use it. They paid me to actually, download and use this browser. They literally paid me to do that. And they literally pay me every month for using it because, they monetize the ads and share it with those who use the browsers. So it's pretty dope. But yeah, so this joystream looks kind of cool, looks interesting, looks like something worth diving into a little bit deeper just to see. As you can see here, look at how many videos they have on their platform right now. It's almost 750,000, 20,000 user engagement up, channels over 17,000 channels. Followers is up, profiles are up, creator rewards at 374,000. Some of the creators right here scrolling by. 37 million in the market cap, total supply of 1 billion coins. Circulating supply right now is almost 800 million. So joystream, yeah, they got a video platform where, a community. And I've been in some of these other decentralized social media communities. Some of them are pretty cool. Some of them, when I got in, it was so new, they were kind of garbage. But I remember one that was kind of like TikTok, called like Pepe or something like that. And, they paid you, you made videos, people could tip you, this and that. It's pretty cool. So this is just kind of where things are going. These are some of the things that we're seeing happen with this Web3 blockchain powered by crypto. Look at this. You can launch your own video app. Customize, launch, build, earn. Powerful new value capture tools. Video monetization with NFT sales and royalties. And these are some of the NFTs that I've been selling on the joystream blockchain. So it's just, something worth looking at. And it's not for me to show you into buying it, whether you get it or not, doesn't make a difference to me. I'm just showing you the different things that are going on. So, of course, the Bitcoin, the ETFs, of course, that those are, big developments, but there's so much more going on in this blockchain, world. This blockchain technology is developing and producing real life solutions and disruptions into things. And that's going to be important because as this crypto market really starts hitting Main Street, via some of these more centralized traditional financial means, the BlackRocks, the Fidelities, the banks, the governments, the central banks, the et cetera, corporations, they're going to centralize everything as much as possible. And they're going to try to get everybody on their centralized services when decentralized services exist. Nothing that they're going to bring doesn't already exist. We can do our own thing separate from them if we want. We can interact with the traditional means if we feel like it or on our own terms, but only if we understand how to deal with these decentralized protocols, right? The DeFi, the decentralized exchanges, the decentralized wallets, et cetera, et cetera. And if we know about the fact that some of these things even exist. So, that's the purpose of Blockchain Crypto Gang. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, all that good stuff. Let me know what you're into. Any questions you have, you can hit me up at cryptopodcast@gmail.com. You can join Blockchain Crypto Gang Facebook group as well. Right here, we're sitting at about 460 members. So, there's my boy Stu Fresh. Come in here and, join Blockchain Crypto Gang, learn about some things, post some things, advertise some things, as long as it's not, any grifting going on. It's all cool in the gang. Anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. Peace.